Hi everyone. It's a good thing I was out in the sun today because I finally decided to watch Erika Meyer's video, and I've already played it through, and I've got some points here that I've noted down that I'm gonna go over in a minute. I think I'll just play the most important parts of the video. If you want to catch Erika Meyer's video, you can go onto her page, catch her video. But I'm going to play this video through, and then I'm going to stop at certain points. I'm going to fast forward through certain points because it's really just her looking around, talking about stuff, going around in circles. So let's just get on with this.
It's now about 10 in the morning on May 17th, 2020. And I want to make this video to address this conversation that I allowed myself to get. I shouldn't say allow myself, because it was a response to a video that I made, and a response that I responded to and so forth, and then it became a back and forth. And I need to put it away. So I need to put it to bed. I need to leave it aside and, say what my final word is on this and move on. So it's a woman whose handle is, I believe right now it's Fabalocious D on YouTube, and Serpentine Fire on Twitter. And she had a problem with me, the video I made. Okay, so here's my response to her response video, other than the many, many, many comments that are beneath the video from yesterday, all from yesterday, back and forth between her and I. Almost exactly, well, even 13 months ago, really. It was a little over a year ago. I realized.
Okay, so first of all, the first thing that you notice is that she talks about her allowing herself to. First of all, she made a video about me. She deleted me. She blocked me. Then she made a video about me, calling me a perp based on one video with all kinds of weird angles and names and things like that. She based it on absolutely nothing. So now she's playing the victim already. From the first point in the video, she's already playing the victim, and she's already saying, oh, I allowed myself to get drawn in. No, darling. You made the video first. You followed. In fact, when it came to Twitter, you followed me. You came to my page. And then when you thought that I was a perp, you blocked and deleted me. Then you made a video about me so that I wouldn't know you made a video about me. My thing is this. Why are you going to play victim over a situation that you created? So, she's putting herself in terms of, oh, I need to move on. I need to unburden my, seriously, this is a situation she created. She went on there and talked about certain information about a video of mine that wasn't even that serious. I have the right to respond. I have the right to say, look, this isn't right. This isn't right about me. I have the right to do that. And when she came up asking question after question, hoping to try and catch me out or catch me out in a lie because she thinks I'm lying, remember? So she's doing this interrogation style of questioning where she's going around in circles and she's trying to throw questions out of, throw questions at me. As if I'm suddenly going to buckle and be like, listen, if I'm a genuine target, I'm not going to buckle on shit, because when you're honest about something, you don't have to remember anything. So, of course, I wasn't going to buckle on it. Of course, I was going to go into detail. But let's continue anyway. Let's get on with this.
That I had this sort of rolling set of realizations coming to understand that this whole targeted information thing is a disinformation campaign. But that was a
All right, so she says that the targeted individual thing and the perp thing is a disinformation program. I'm struggling to understand how it's a disinformation program if, you know, both you and the people who call themselves TIs are talking about the same thing. We're both talking about trauma-based mind control. We're both talking about chips. We're both talking about EMF radiation attacks. So why is it that there's a difference between you and people who call themselves TIs? That makes no sense, because TIs have been talking about the same thing. So that makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense that TIs and perps would suddenly be, you know, a disinformation thing. Now, granted, there are controlled opposition, and there are, you know, controlled opposition movements like the Flat Earth movement, the alt-right. There are political leanings and fringe leanings designed to provide disinformation about targeting. So when it comes to that, I get that part, but us calling ourselves TIs and perps, it doesn't matter, because we're talking about the same thing. You see, I really get a bit antsy when people are kind of focused on names rather than the situation. What does it matter what I call myself or what I call the people who are doing this to me? What does it matter what you call yourself or the people doing this to you? What does it matter? It amounts to the same difference, because we're all talking about the same thing. So I'm just a bit confused with this. Like, this confuses me. But all right, let's go on.
Getting to that point where I, now say, and I continue to believe that the targeted information, when you targeted individuals, people who call themselves targeted individuals, that whole thing is a disinformation campaign.
Oh, Lord.
It mixes, by disinformation, I mean bad information is deliberately mixed in with good information in order to confuse and mislead.
Right. This is where she's true. This is absolutely true. There is information out there, bad mixed with good, to throw people off, so that when they do get it wrong, then the whole thing can be scrapped. Imagine this. This is a type of reverse psychology, what she's talking about here, right? If you're honest most of the time and you get your information right most of the time, and you're talking about something entirely plausible, all it takes is one piece of wrong information to make people doubt you. That's a psychological trick that is used by the perps, by the handlers, by narcissistic abusers in general all the time. So what she's talking about is factual. We do have certain people claiming to be TIs who are not TIs. You know, but it's like with any movement or any subgroup in human history, there's always going to be people who are infiltrating a group chatting shit. Or there are going to be people who are spreading disinformation for their own personal agenda. It's just like any other subgroup. So what she's saying is nothing new. It's not new. Do you understand what I'm saying? And she's trying to make it sound like this huge thing or this big thing. It's not a big thing. It is a big thing. Tell a lie. It is a big thing. But she's making it out like this is a situation unique to the targeted community. It is not unique to us. That's just called human nature. Where there's a communication outlet, there is the opportunity to lie. That is human nature. But let's continue.
I don't know how many people they're trying to confuse or mislead. I don't know how many people believe this stuff.
It would be everyone, wouldn't it? Okay, so if they're really trying to get, if they're really trying to mislead people with the TI and perp stuff, and they're trying to make sure that any experimentation into trauma-based mind control or anything to do with that, if they want to make sure that those very real accounts of trauma-based mind control and human trafficking are buried, then surely everybody would be the target of that deception, including TIs, wouldn't it? Because that would be part of the gaslighting for TIs, and for the rest of the public, it'd be straight up lies anyway. So clearly the deception is aimed at everyone. I don't know what she's talking about. Like, it's just confusing to me.
I don't know how many people to whom it's even on the radar, but for me, it struck true because it described things that I had experienced. So I believed for...
The thing is, right, part of mass brainwashing is to have multiple people triggered at one time. So they will use specific symbolism and specific cues to trigger a certain amount of TIs all at once. Yeah? Sometimes it doesn't even take mind controlling us in order to do that. Sometimes it doesn't take mind controlling targets in order to do that. Sometimes it doesn't take remote hypnosis. Sometimes it doesn't take any of that. Sometimes all it takes is for us to do something simple that we've been triggered into being hypersensitive to, so that we end up accusing each other of shit. It happens all the time. There are so many people that have cut me off because they thought I was a shill or something. Of course, they were cowardly enough to do it behind my back and not do it to my face, because they know if they do it to my face, they're going to get caught short like this woman was, because I don't play like that. Okay? If you're accusing me of something, I'm going to address it directly. So yes, massive. If we can, think of all those Illuminati videos. You mean to tell me there's all these Illuminati videos out there about symbolism, and we think for 1 second that if we were going to be targeted with trauma-based mind control, that there would be some sort of symbolism that's tailor-made to the individual? Like, seriously, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's mass mind control and mass trafficking. That's not how the shit works. Like, Lord. Okay, let's continue.
No. While that I was one of these so-called targeted individuals, that I was one among a group of targeted individuals. I don't think that anymore. And I think that targeted individual is a disinformation term.
Again, it might be. But if the people who call themselves TIs and the people who don't call themselves TIs are all saying the same thing, there's a saying that goes, so many people can't be wrong. So what does it matter about the names? Again, she's getting stuck on names. What the fuck does it matter? We're being attacked electronically. We're being we're being brainwashed using remote technology. We're having our dreams invaded. We're being mined for cryptocurrency. What the fuck difference does it make what we call ourselves? Why are you so stuck on names?
Now, that doesn't mean that some people don't genuinely consider themselves targeted individuals. Whoa, these hummingbirds just flew from right there. They flew right here in like a 2-foot space between me and this brush, rather than, I don't know, that's interesting. That's a very...
Okay, I'm going to fast forward
kind
this.
of puzzling about for a while, and talked about what I thought their deal was. And then I picked a few people that were more sort of random.
Hang on a sec. Let me go back.
And so sometimes you can't have everything. Okay, so at the time that I made that video, I was kind of, first of all, I was picking out a few people that I had been kind of puzzling about for a while, and talked about what I thought their deal was. And then I picked a few people that were more sort of random, that, I hadn't looked into as deeply, including this woman, who I'll call Fabalocious D, because that seems like that's mainly how she identifies herself. And did not do a tremendous amount of research. This is a new vehicle right here. I've never seen this vehicle before. I walk along. I have a history of walking around this place, although I haven't walked over here the past few.
For fuck's sake.
Look at that. The targeted individual thing going on. Was it a program? What was it? I don't know. I don't believe any of that anymore. I think that most of the people associated with this are victims of trauma, or subjects, however you want to put it, of trauma-based mind control, and they're, I use words like activated. I still think those are pretty good words, although they...
Correct. Anybody who calls themselves a TI who are genuine, in fact, both people who are TIs and perps are subject to this mind control, trauma-based mind control experimentation. Now, I said yesterday that it incorporates a lot of other different things, like market research, cryptocurrency, like I said before, pharmaceuticals, defense weaponry, because they are using electronic weapons on us. So that comes under defense, right? Defense industry. So what she's saying here is absolutely correct. Trauma-based mind control in order to effectively reduce our self-preservation, reduce our ambitions, and to make us kind of incapable of lying, so that we, that basically removing all traces of self-preservation is the goal of this program, is the goal of this trauma-based mind control. So she hit it exactly right. Like, she's completely right about this. That's exactly what it is.
Feel a little bit, to say that somebody's activated sounds like, you've flipped a switch and that they're made of machinery. That's not what I think exactly, but all of that's a little more complicated. I think that there are a lot of people who are basically being set up almost like toy soldiers to fight each other for the entertainment of wealthy people who have paid off government officials and things like that, and also engaging in really sophisticated mind control of everybody in order to get their way. And I haven't used the word perp in a very long time. I'm not saying I never used it, but by the time that I made that video a year ago mentioning Fabalocious I wasn't using the term perp. I thought that too was sort of a disinformation.
Again, this is just being wishy-washy. Doesn't matter what words you use. You accused me of stalking you directly. I don't give a damn what you call that. I don't care what you call that. You accuse me of being paid off by the UK government over here, probably by MI6. I don't know how, well, I know how it works, but I don't know exactly how it works. So you're accusing me of being paid off by a private company enlisted by the government to stalk you in particular. That's a perp. You can call it what you like. Like, again, we're playing victim. We're being passive aggressive. We're trying to play on pedantics in order to try and diminish responsibility on your part. Okay, we're not going to do that today.
Term creating I think it's a misdirection term, because I don't think this is about perps and subjects so much as it is about exactly what I've been saying it is, which is a bigger game going on that centers Chris and I, our family lines, and then every seventh generation, they've been told there's an exit, right? There's a way to get out of this and to switch it around and to make a major change. But the groups pushing this idea seem to be heavily invested in making that not happen. So it's either a false promise that was made, or at one time it was a genuine promise that has been co-opted or something. But certainly it's very clear that nobody who's closely linked to me had any intention of resolving it in the way that they said that they would resolve it. That much is very clear. But however they can get away, whether they get away with what they're trying to get away with really depends on a lot of other people.
I'm tempted.
And one thing it depends on people.
I'm tempted to fast forward this, because she does a lot of this. She does a lot of sidetracking. To be honest, as a targeted individual, you are going to do a lot of sidetracking, especially if your weapons have been fired on your head. Over time, it causes you to kind of fumble your words a little bit. So it's not just the remote hypnosis that causes it, but it's also the brain damage that is being caused not only by EMF weaponry, but also by the psychological abuse over a long period of time. It can degrade the brain's ability to comprehend things and to tell things in a straightforward way. So I'm impatient and I'm getting irritated, because she's clearly like just saying, I think she's guilty, but I'm gonna leave it alone for now. That clearly seems to be what she's saying. And if that's what she thinks, then just say that. Like, don't waffle. Just say what you have to say and keep it pushing. That's what I do. If I get something wrong, I say it and keep it pushing. Like, you've all seen my videos. You've all seen my videos. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. There are times where I got something wrong about somebody and I literally called the police and said, look, I got this wrong about somebody. And she calls herself a straightforward person, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing where she's straightforward.
Being fooled or not being fooled. People understanding what they're dealing with or not understanding what they're dealing with. So that's why I believe there's so much confusion around all of this stuff. So I made about an 8-minute video talking about Fabalocious D and my feelings about it, what I thought, what I had observed. It's true that I did not sit there and lay out a bunch of evidence about her because I didn't think it was that important.
You didn't think it was that important, but you thought it was important enough to make this video and say, in my opinion, this person is targeting me in particular. How is it not that important? I'm lost, because this is contributing to causing you continuous pain, triggering you psychologically, okay? Triggering you psychologically, adding to a life that is already torturous for you and your family. That's a big thing to say. It's huge. It's not a small thing. So if it's not that important, don't make the video. Don't make the video in the first place. If it's not important enough for you to get your information straight, then don't make the video in the first place. With me, yesterday, I recorded noises being heard from over the next flat over. Yeah? I recorded noises. The thing is, it's still inconclusive as to whether Samira is still there or not. But one thing is clear. I made sure I got some tangible evidence of some noise that was going on next door so that everybody knew I wasn't crazy and knew I wasn't making it up. That's the difference between me and this person. This person is come on my fucking page. Not come on my fucking page. But she's literally done everything she can to accuse me of this stuff and make sure that she didn't have to take any accountability for her actions. Like, what?
I feel like at the time she hadn't been online for a while.
I hadn't been online for a while because, you know, my financial situation was really, really spotty. And when it's really spotty like that, or when I'm going through a lot of abuse, and quite frankly, it's just too much for me to take, sometimes I won't make videos for a while. I used to have long spaces in between videos sometimes when I was living at the last address, because it was just like there was so much going on and there was so much to talk about and there was so much to wrap up. Like, I didn't always make videos. And on top of that, you know, if I had to make a video on every single crime that was committed against me, there would literally be thousands of goddamn videos by now. I'd be like some of these fucking YouTubers posting a video every single day at every single hour, because the crimes against me are so much. As is the case with anybody who's going through a trauma-based mind control program. Sometimes you get depressed. Sometimes you get anxious. Sometimes there's a lot you have to sort out. Sometimes you have financial spots that are just difficult to deal with. Lord. Okay. It's just like, again, she's using these loosely connected things and she's trying to put together, like, oh God. Okay.
It was just more like, this is an example of somebody that I think is being deceptive, and this is the things I've observed, and this is why. And I'm not going to go back and try to prove it. It's not that important to me.
It's important to me. As somebody who's being accused of adding to somebody's psychological trauma and adding to somebody's trauma-based mind control experience, it's important to me. And it's going to be important to the people who spot that video, because it's on my page, right? So it's going to be important to the people who've seen that video. It's going to be important to them. It's going to be important to me. It's definitely going to be important to the handlers and perps, because they you know, right now they're shaking. The fact that you've got this video out and they know that all of it is completely non-factual. Now they're thinking about, well, what the fuck are we going to do? Because this woman's come out and said that Fabian is working for the government. And we know that's not true because of all the false diagnosis we gave her. Right now they're shaking because of this shit. So it's important to a lot of people. It is important to a lot of people. I used to go online and make rash decisions all the time until I finally learned and realized, I woke up and realized I'm trying to appeal to a community of people who have been lied to and gaslit and even accused of bullshit so many times. A lot of people used to tell me, Fabian, get your information straight. And I never used to listen because I wanted revenge on the gang stalkers. Fuck all that shit. Okay? I wanted revenge on the gang stalkers so badly. But then I had to realize when I put information out, it's not just me that it affects, it's other TIs. And if I've accused somebody falsely of being a perp, that could ruin their lives. Because what happens when they're not a perp, when they are actually a TI, or even if they're just a member of the public and you've put this information out there about them based on nothing? It ruins their fucking lives. And as you've all seen from my videos, this is not something I take lightly anymore. It's not something I take lightly as a grown-ass woman. You could ruin people's lives with this. It's a good thing that people over here are trying to represent me as paranoid, schizophrenic and all the rest of it. You're very, very lucky, because if that wasn't the case, you could have left me alienated from the one community that I should have been able to rely on. So yes, it's important. Yes, it's important. Be an adult.
She's said a lot of abusive things to me. She's accused me of defamation, which...
Okay, playing victim again. Playing victim again. There is nothing more abusive than coming out and saying somebody is involved in trauma-based mind control to stalk a family that has done nothing to her. There is nothing more abusive in the world than that. Do you understand? Now, all of you have seen what I've written on my social media, and all of you have seen the video. I know I don't hold back. I'm pissed off. That same day that I found that video of hers, I'd have just busted somebody's shit up because of how angry I was about the situation. So coming off the back of that, I was not pleased. She needs to think about how she would feel if somebody came online. She couldn't even handle me saying she had defamation of character. She couldn't even handle me saying she was defaming me. So how would she handle me turning around to her and saying she's using trauma-based mind control on me? How would she handle that? Let's continue.
Isn't true. It doesn't meet the criteria of defamation, but even though I've
it doesn't meet the criteria of defamation. You see, once again, she's using specifics, and she's focusing on names, and she's focusing on what something's called, to be petty and try to remove or diminish her role and her responsibility in this entire conversation. She's doing it again. When I say she's defaming me, that's exactly what the hell I meant. If you're going to go online and say, I think that this person is a shill, I don't care if you said I think. I don't care if you said I know. I don't care if you said I believe. You went online and you pointed out specific details that had nothing to do with anything. And you accused me of being involved in your trafficking and in your trauma-based mind control. I don't play with that shit. I said what I said. She needs to stop playing victim, and she needs to stop playing victim. This is why I have this conversations like this out in the open. She needs to stop playing victim. She needs to stop. Serious.
Now, this isn't about logic. This is about, making yourself heard, whether or not you're telling the truth or not, or whether or not your language is accurate or not.
So hold on a second. So it's all about making yourself heard, whether the language you're using is accurate or not, or whether you're telling the truth or not. I can't handle this. Like as somebody from really think about the mind of a perpetrator from the UK. If you're a perpetrator from the UK and you're trying to stalk somebody from the US, you're not going to give a fuck about being heard. You're not going to give a fuck about being heard. You have a job to do. You're not going to be that invested in making sure that this person is humiliated or what. She brought that on herself. If I truly was a perp, because perps are not intelligent. Perps are not intelligent. They're not forward thinking. Yes, they do want attention, but there's a limit. Why the fuck would a UK perp want attention from a US victim? It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense whatsoever. What are you talking about? You see, once again, she's playing victim. She's being passive aggressive and she's being condescending. This is a waste. This response is a waste of everyone's time. This is just her trying to get the last word, being passive aggressive about it, and then, expecting everybody to just be like, oh, you poor thing. Oh, that big scary black woman is intimidating you. You poor thing. No, we're not doing that today.
And, without giving me evidence that I've committed defamation, she's still calling.
Evidence that you've committed defamation, it's right there in the video. It's right there in the video.
Defamatory, so I have a real problem with that. I think that is itself defamatory.
I have a problem with you. I have a problem with you coming on my videos with no information and calling me a trafficker. I have a big problem with that. You can't even handle being called, you can't even handle one of your videos being called defamatory. Imagine how you're going to feel when somebody calls you a fucking trafficker. Like, for real, really?
But nonetheless, it's all, so she went through this bunch of stuff, like, let's see, what did she say? So the first thing was, I can't remember what the first thing was. Okay, the first thing was that the origins of her name. Now this is interesting, and this is where I started to realize that this might be more serious than I had given it credit for. At least it's gotten serious. I said that I thought the name Fabalocious D came from some type of Christian cartoon. The reason why I said that is because I was like, first of all, the name Serpentine Fire caught my attention since I had a band at one time called Serpentone.
All right, you had a band called Serpentone. Let me see what notes have I made here. At one point on Facebook, I tried to set up a PR company called Serpentine Fire. It didn't work because I didn't know the first thing about business. So that's A. B, there is a heavy metal band in existence right now called Serpentine Fire. There is an Earth, Wind and Fire tribute band out there right now called Serpentine Fire. Where they got the name from was a song of Earth, Wind and Fire called Serpentine Fire. Do you know where I got the name from? Romeo Must Die. Aaliyah's character in that film has a shop called Serpentine Fire. I thought, man, that's badass. I must have been like, 16 or 17 at the time? So I make a list of all these really, really cool names and I'm thinking, maybe I should use them as a stage presence. Maybe I should use them. And then the internet came along and I thought, you know what? Maybe I can put them there. So once again, she's focusing on fucking pedantic details that she has no evidence for that have anything connected with her apart from the fact that they sound similar. And yet she's accusing me of, do you understand where this is going now? Do you understand what's happening?
Serpentine, of course, is a type of rock. In fact, it's a type of rock. Is it?
I only just found that out recently about the serpentine rock. I only just found out about that recently. So again, clutching at straws, wasting time, going around in circles. Let's continue.
The type of rock that actually, this is, I think, maybe more like schist or some type of comic or cartoon. called Fabalocious D. I figured that's where she got her name from. And that seemed to make her really angry. So I thought after she...
Okay, so what she's doing now is she's shifting the goalposts. So on the one hand, she's trying to act like she was, she was doing something for a good cause. And then on the other hand, when I get angry about the stuff that she's doing, now she's trying to make out like it's a really weird detail to be angry about. So like, I just don't know. I just don't understand what this woman is doing right now. It just seems like she's trying to avoid responsibility, and she's trying to blame me for what she's done. So basically my emotional reactions are my fault and not hers. Like, and granted, how I respond to those feelings is my responsibility. But how I'm going to feel about somebody accusing me of something, no, I'm not a psychopath. If you accuse me of stuff based on nothing, I'm going to get angry, especially if I've had a really horrible day up to then anyway.
He kind of went through this big thing about that. I thought, well, I'll look that up again and see what, jog my memory about what I had seen. And when I looked it up again, I didn't see anything about that. I saw a lot of her posts, and I saw some stuff. I took some screenshots of what I saw because I saw some videos coming up that didn't appear to have anything to do with her, but the content of them was alarming to me. And right before this happened, I started to feel the implant near my heart being activated.
Right. This has happened to me as well. Every single time I've had an emotionally distressing situation, I remember there was one argument that I had between myself and another TI called Piccolo Nicola. I don't know. I think it's Piccolo Nicola. When I last spoke to her, I had an argument with her. I had a fight with her, and I reported that EMF weapons were being used on my heart. Piccolo Nicola thought that was a dig at her, but what it actually was me reporting what the perps were doing as I was arguing with this girl. You see, what they do is when you have an emotionally distressing situation, or when you are at your most vulnerable, like when you're going off to sleep at night, stuff like that, that's normally when they like to attack your heart with the EMF weaponry. So that's when they like to do stuff. It doesn't prove that the person that you're arguing with is a fucking perp. All that proves is that the people handling you are using that opportunity, are using your emotional vulnerability and the degradation of your physical body that causes in order to attack your heart. Okay? And to make you sicker. That's what they do. And also, as a side bonus, it also messes with your head, because then you end up accusing people and lashing out at people. I've done that as well. You end up accusing people and lashing out at people, thinking that they're the reason why your heart is going all funny, when really it's just the handlers fucking with you. Because when it comes to the weaponry, and I've been told this, right? It's not just one person using it. There's at least 5 other people using it. The reason why I know that certain individuals have been firing electronic weapons on me is because they've confessed to it repeatedly. They've even bragged about it. That's how I know. Because they've bragged about it repeatedly. That's how I know what they've been doing to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? This shit is ridiculous. Like, I can't get a video now. Oh yeah, it's come back up. Hang on. We keep going. So she's using that as an opportunity to prove that I'm a fucking perp. Now, where the fuck do they do that at?
With her, but the content of them was alarming to me. And right before this happened, I started to feel the implant near my heart being activated. So I was actually experiencing a frequency-based attack around my heart.
I have put other people's videos up of people deliberately, people blatantly being mistreated by authority figures and stuff like that. I think I don't know what those videos are. I have to go back and look. But I think if I know myself, I would have done one or two things. Either one, I would have put the video up in the hopes that they would have found the person who was being mistreated. Or two, I would have put the video up and made sure people can get to made sure that I could name the person that was being mistreated in the video so that people could go over to her page and get her side of the story. So I think what she's talking about, I'm not sure. I think what she's talking about was this video of this woman opening up the door, finding the police there, and they were approaching her about a post or some shit. Like, so I think it's one of those videos. But I can't make assumptions because I don't know what video she's talking about. Every time I ask her to give me an example or something, she's extremely vague. Like, if you saw from one of the replies on my response video, she talked about me leaving a comment about a celebrity on a Nicki Minaj story on Impressive TV's channel, and she's not specific about the video, and she's not specific about the person that I was supposed to have been disparaging. You're talking to somebody who has an opinion on absolutely everything and will forget it just as quickly. My short-term memory is shit. So the fact that she's not being specific, again, I have to give her the side. This is not a good. I don't feel like this person's a good person. I think this person is a narcissist who thinks they're a good person. Not all narcissists think they're good people, but I think this is a narcissist who thinks she's a good person. That's the most dangerous kind to me. But let's proceed on with this. Nothing specific, no evidence, and yet she accuses me of that. Do you see what's happening?
So those two things together made me realize, okay, there's something important about this dialogue that we're having. The videos that I saw coming up when I did a search on Fabalocious D suggested to me.
Sorry, if you're hearing chewing noises, I'm eating while she's talking.
That one or both of us could be in danger simply just because of this conversation. So again, I've made screenshots, assuming the screenshots are still on my pretty rose.
The conversation has become dangerous and one of us could be in danger. You're in a trauma-based mind control program. You're already in danger. I'm in a trauma-based mind control program. I'm already in danger. Like, okay, all right. And before, okay, all right.
Assuming the screenshots are still on my desktop when I get home, I'll put them in a directory and maybe show what I'm talking about. So another point of contention with her was, my guessing, okay, this was a guess, and I think I said that was a guess, that she was paid to engage in deceptive behavior. And by paid, I don't necessarily mean with cash. I could mean with favored.
Again, if it's a guess, don't put it up. If it's a guess, don't put it up. Again, the only reason why I know about the perps doing what they're doing to me is because they've been talking about it. I've been able to hear their conversations. And plus, if I haven't been able to hear their conversations, they've been bragging about what they've been doing. They've been bragging about breaking into my house. They've also been crying and whining about the fact that I don't seem to have any sympathy for them, even though they're getting paid to torture me. If you have to guess, don't put it up. Again, I get things wrong sometimes. I get this wrong sometimes and I have to correct it. Yeah? So, it's, even when I'm sure I get things wrong. So, that's fine. But if you're just guessing and you're not entirely sure, then don't put it the fuck up. Simple. Simple. Bruh.
I could mean with other things. But something that I see now that I didn't see then is that are people paid? I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what the motivation is, or if there is even what the positive motivation is. But I'm increasingly aware that there's serious negative motivations. So it seems like there's always a carrot and a stick together. And everyone in this position, okay, everyone who's experiencing the kinds of things that she's described and I've experienced is implanted with these implants and is subject to assassination. You know, things up to and including assassination. So, you know, lots of bad luck that can come from being implanted in this way. I mean, bad luck is health problems. It could be accidents.
All right.
Entities above this, you know, basically setting us at each other like we're, again, like toy soldiers.
Okay, so am I perp or not? My thing is this, right? It's not higher entities doing it. Yeah, I don't know what kind of higher entity she's talking about. I don't know if she's talking about spiritual entities. I don't know if she's talking about the Masons. But one thing I do know, okay, is that she can't seem to decide whether or not I'm fucking lying about this or not. Like, she's still flip-flopping. So why even make the response anyway if only to get the last word and to try and act high and mighty while you do it? Why did you even make this video? What higher entities are you talking about that are playing us off against each other? You made the video. You made the video. And everybody knows what kind of person I am. I'm combative and I'm argumentative. I play devil's advocates. The whole reason why I've been getting into so much trouble and people have had so much to use against me is because I play devil's advocate with everybody, including myself. I do that with everybody. You made a video saying that you suspected that I was part of your trafficking. I responded. It was my responsibility to respond to you, just like it was your responsibility to make that video based on nothing. You see, you're not owning anything that you do. I understand that we live with trauma-based mind control and things like that. We do live with that, and we are subject to that. I'm not saying we're not. But we still have a certain amount of responsibility over our own behavior. If that wasn't the case, this thing would have been over by now because we would have been fully controlled. But it's not over for a reason. It's because we still have we still have physical responsibility over how we respond to our emotions. We still have responsibility as grown adults with fully formed brains. Erika, you're not taking responsibility for your behavior. You haven't done that throughout this entire video.
And so there's a thriving off of that kind of conflict, and then, you know, when things come to a, you know, or for whatever reason, people that are involved in this will amplify the situation, or you know, becomes amplified. And so that's why I say I think that the conversation has become dangerous. There's another cone. This is the bar with the cone behind it. It's really unbelievable. It's like it turned into Germantown. It started, I think, last fall, actually. That I really started noticing lots of, I mean, it's not like it's been going on for a long time. The superhero thing's been going on for a long time. But now I'm seeing, and yesterday I just went across the street and...
She's basically just talking about stuff that she's observed from her hometown. She lives in Portland, Oregon. And the thing is, nobody knows your own backyard better than you. So she goes through a lot of these cues and things like that I think I can't really assume that they're fake. To me, I feel like she would know her environment better than anyone. So I think if she's noticed something weird going on, then there probably is something weird going on. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions because this is supposed to be my response video, and yet it's just a lot of this, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this throughout the video. This is supposed to be a response to me, a proper response.
Okay, so the other, let's see, what else did she talk about that was bothering her about what I said? I think it had to do with my, what I felt were psychological techniques, sort of covertly encoded in her mannerisms. So that may or might, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back and second guess any of that. I felt that was what was going on. I've seen other
oh my
videos
God, why stop now? You second guess so much already. Like, why stop now?
where that's going on. I think there's three possibilities with that. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and try to make my case and try to prove that or anything like that. That was what I felt at the time, and I think that it's a valid observation. One might agree or disagree with.
A valid observation.
Court of law, and so here's what I think. There's three possibilities. One is that she did that deliberately, okay, which at the time probably was what I thought. Two, she did it inadvertently. In other words, and what I'm realizing is this happens way more than I had realized. I was not aware by that time. I wasn't. I mean, I still clearly am not, but I was just becoming aware of the nuances of mind control and how sophisticated it is, and how pervasive it is in someone like me or her, probably, to the point where you might be doing something that has a specific effect and not realize you're doing it because somebody is actually making you do it through frequency-based mind control. I mean, maybe it's some, it could also be some type of psychological conditioning or whatever, kind of condition to behave in a certain way.
Psychological condition. I have BPD, post-traumatic stress disorder, premenstrual dysmorphic disorder, PCOS, which can contribute to anxiety and depression. What does anxiety, depression, and PTSD have to do with a weird camera angle? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
In certain circumstances, but I think that it's been found what's much more powerful and sophisticated than that, and which seems to be used, from my observation, much more than psychology, is this direct frequency-based control of people's behaviors, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And Minnesota.
Shit.
And for that reason, I think it's important for people like me not to be too, I have to keep reminding myself not to be too judgy when I do find somebody doing something.
Oh, is that what you call it? Interesting.
Because there's so many things about this that I don't understand yet, and I know that so much of this is linked to direct frequency-based mind control. So it's totally possible that she was directed to do this by other people who she doesn't, weren't even in, she's never even seen. And it's not. So anyway, so that's the second possibility. The third possibility is that it totally was random and it's nothing at all. I don't think that's true. I think there was something going on there. And like I said before, initially, I thought it was a deliberate thing. Now I suspect it wasn't deliberate, but I suspect that it still was a thing, if that makes sense. In other words, I think somebody else might have been behind it. Okay, so that was that part of it. And that...
So basically she thinks that somebody was trying to hypnotize her through me. This is just barely plausible given what we know about trauma-based mind control. This is barely plausible. Barely. Because if that really was the case, that I was directed by someone else, there is no way in hell that would have just affected one person. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
It's not most of the stuff that I tried to, the observations that I made about her. There's also lots of Teslas, but that's a new car, so you know, one would expect that a new car wouldn't have been seen so much in the past. Obviously, I've never really seen any Teslas in Portland until this year at all. This year is the first time I ever saw a Tesla in my life. Okay, so where's it going? Serpentine fire. Oh, most of the things that I talked about with her were pattern-based observations. So the stuff that I had seen, and I thought was something linked to mind control, were patterns that I've seen in other accounts. And a lot of these accounts, I haven't gone through and watched her latest videos. I see she's talking a lot about psychology. She uses a lot of psychological terms. You know, she's using clinical terms in a non-clinical way, and she's using legal terms in a non-legal way, and that's...
Okay, so basically, just like you are using trauma-based mind control patterns to describe a video that has absolutely nothing to do with that. Is that what we're talking about? So if we're going to talk about legal terms that are not being used correctly and clinical terms that are not being used correctly, let's talk about occult terms or mind control technique terms that are being used improperly, which is what started all of this. So again, you're being pedantic in order to be passive aggressive rather than taking responsibility for your actions and owning your part in it. This is childish behavior.
You know, something that I don't like, but obviously I don't have any control over that. There's an old Masonic lodge. Nobody quite knows what it's used for now. I think it's a train museum or something. I've seen her videos. I've seen a lot more stuff linked to psychology specifically that contains a lot of these elements that I talked about. And I think that there's some serious shenanigans going on.
Are you serious? So you went through... Okay, so you went through all that effort to look through my psychology videos, but you didn't look through my evidence files. You didn't look through anything else. You just looked at the psychology part. That's how I know you're not serious. That's how I know you're not serious. Because I've got a whole evidence file of stuff that people have done to me, but also even I've done to other people. So I've got a whole evidence file full of that, and you didn't look at that?
Psychology, and actually a lot of these videos that I'm talking about are UK based. So there's something going on in the it's here too, but I think in the United Kingdom something's going on specifically with trauma-based mind control and research. And
now I know you live in a bubble, because how in the hell are you going through this and you're researching into this and you don't know that this is global?
What I call hostile psychology, and maybe people being
like, how long was it before you found out it was global? In fact, you know, there's something like that going on in the UK. It's literally everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Like, how did you not know that? And you've been looking into this for years. Within the first year of knowing that I was a TI, I knew it was fucking worldwide. Within the first year. How are you still not aware that this is going on? That's how I know you live in a bubble. I'm not going to use the N-word, but that's how I know you live in a bubble. Because how in the hell have you been studying this for years and you don't know it's global?
You know, again, I tend to assume that people are paid, but now I realize that's maybe too much of an assumption. That maybe not. But I talked about this other guy named Elliot McGavin and stuff that I've seen in his. Okay, here's the other thing that I've noticed. Here's some more gravel. Here's a brand new porch. It's not stuff that people are doing deliberately. It's stuff that they're being controlled to do. So there's like this whole social engineering going on through mind control. It's really, really scary. It's really, really creepy. And it causes, the kind of...
There is social engineering through mind control, but again, if people did not have some semblance of responsibility over their own actions, then this experimentation would have ended long ago. So let's not do that. If you want to accuse me of being a human trafficker, then accuse me of being one. If you want to say, I'm sorry, I appear to have got it wrong, this person is not a perpetrator after all, this person is not trafficking me, then say that. But pick a lane and stick to it. Stop trying to avoid, you know what?
Conflict that happened between me and Fabalocious D is exactly what, a lot of people want to happen. And I was trying not to conflict with her. I was trying actually to get to the truth. That, like I said, it's at a certain point you have to give up. Not give up, but call
So,
it.
okay, so in one, okay, so she's shifting the goalposts again, right? So on the one hand, she's saying that me and her have been set up against one another to fight each other like two TIs would. And then in the same breath, she wants to turn around and say she wants to get to the truth. So if obviously she's trying to get to the truth and she's saying, oh, at some point you have to give up, then obviously she still thinks I'm a perp. So she's trying to be wishy-washy so she doesn't have to take any ownership over what she's decided to assume about me. Because she doesn't want to be wrong and she doesn't want to be humiliated. If she says that I'm a TI, I'm sorry, I was wrong, then she ends up being humiliated. If she says that I'm a perp and then that turns out to be wrong, which it is, then she ends up being humiliated. So right now she's trying to save her pride.
And move on. Everybody's implanted. Everybody in this situation is implanted. Everybody in this situation is subject to not trauma-based, but attacks, medical attacks through implants, and that's dangerous. So I don't wish her any ill. I am sorry for her feelings being hurt.
Okay. Two things. One, if they're saying they're sorry for hurting your feelings, they're not sorry at all. What they're trying to do is they're trying to minimize how badly they look by appearing to give an apology. It's not again, she's not taking responsibility for her actions. Two, it's even if she was genuinely sorry that she hurt my feelings, it will be in direct conflict with what she thought of me. Because why would you think I was a perp and then care about my feelings? If I'm a perp, what the hell do my feelings matter? You think any TI, any genuine TI worth their goddamn soul gives two shits about how a perp feels? Mate, you have no idea the kind of hatred I have in my heart for the people who have done this to me. The hatred is so deep that even when their feelings are hurt, even when they break down and cry and they show their vulnerability and they show that, they hate themselves for what they've done, it just makes me hate them more, honestly. It just makes me hate them more. When I see that they're crying about shit and that, their feelings are hurt, it just makes me hate them more, because how fucking dare you do this to me? But then again, if they'd have just sat there stone-faced like a sociopath, I would have hated them too. So maybe it wouldn't have made any difference. I don't know. All I know is this: no amount of feeling from a perp could ever make me stop hating them. Ever. Yeah, I got grumbling from downstairs, but yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a fuck right now. These neighbours can fucking kick rocks. These neighbor, from time they're fucking involved in trafficking, they can kick rocks. I don't give a fuck what they say about noise. Fuck all of these people.
I don't stand by everything I said the way I said it in the video. Because, not because I was lying or trying to defame her, but because my understanding of these things has been refined.
You're still not clear about what you think about me, though. You're still not clear. You keep shifting the goalposts to try and avoid humiliation. So you're not even sure of what that viewpoint is.
I am starting, and I already knew that the perp victim dichotomy was false, but now I see.
No, we're not gonna do that. We are not gonna do that. Let's be clear. The second your name is on that program, you're a TI. And when you're a TI, one of three things will happen. Either they never approach you and wait for you to turn into a weapon with all the stuff that they've done to you. That's one avenue. The second avenue is they come and recruit you and you say yes, in which case you become a perp. The third option is you say no, in which case you stay a TI. There is no false dichotomy. When you make a decision based on what this program brings you, you're making a definitive choice. There is no false dichotomy. That's ridiculous. Okay? Now, granted, not all TIs are good people. I get that. But from time you become a perp, you lose all right to anybody giving a fuck about your feelings, to anybody giving a fuck about what you do. As long as you become a perp and stay a perp, ain't nobody obligated to care about your goddamn feelings. That's real. So the dichotomy that she's talking about, it's not a dichotomy at all. There's a clear choice to make. And if you make it, you make it. End of story.
How false it really is that everybody who's being subjected to this stuff, and I do think more people are being subjected. I was like, is everybody faking, or or are they really experiencing something? Or I didn't know. Now I do understand that they are experiencing something. Yes, they aren't necessarily being honest in the way that I understand honesty to be, but nobody is. See, this person's put.
So you're the only one who knows how to be honest, huh? In this entire video, you've been wishy-washy between trying to call me a perp and trying to call me a TI. Like, my dude, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? And again, she's doing this high and mighty condescending thing. Like, passive aggression, once again. Like, do you see this shit? Trying to represent herself as the most honest and what... Like, it... Throughout this video, she does this. In the midst of saying, hey, look at this, that wasn't there before. Like, Lord.
Very subtle but noticeable. I don't know if they'll show up on the video, holes in their garden beds.
That's it.
Weakened bra. So this is, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is a good in human trafficking. More new fences. So, this is what I've done. Okay, and this is not a perfect conclusion to the discussion.
Not a perfect conclusion. That really irks the hell out of me. That irks me a lot. It really irks me. I'm not looking for a perfect conclusion. I'm looking for a definitive one. Do you think that I'm a perp? That's all I'm looking for. All I'm looking for. I didn't even... If people look through... Because I've got screenshots of the entire conversation. And I've been showing it to a very bored public. Okay? I got receipts on this. I said, look, I'm not looking for you to take down the video because honestly, I feel like it will help my case over here. If you're over there making false accusations against me being a perp, and they're making false accusations over here of me being paranoid schizophrenic and of targeted individual life not being real, then this at some point the stories start to conflict with one another. So I actually said to you, you know what, don't bother take it down. But you making it private, you saying you doing all this stuff, you're not making the decision and you're sticking to it. You're trying to back out in a way that makes you look good and that spares you from humiliation. It's non-committal, it's wishy-washy, and it's weak. Ridiculous.
But I do need to move on because I do have...
It's not perfect. Just make a decision and stick to it. Nobody's asking for perfection. We're asking for accountability. You think accountability is perfection? My God, that says a lot.
A lot of things to be really concerned about. I have made the video private right now and I have removed it from the playlist. So the only thing that, the only way somebody's going to come to that video and wonder what's going on is if somebody else has made a reference to it. So she made a reference to it, and you know she's welcome to do what she wants with her videos, but it's not because of her that I've removed it.
I said to her, either leave the video up there or don't leave it up there. Because first of all, the video that she made private, I put a link up there to my video response, which is why she made her video response. Okay? So if she was really going to keep it on YouTube, she might as well have just left it up there and let people look at it. Because it's on my video anyway. This is what I'm saying. Make a decision. Make a decision and stick to it. If you really think that I'm a perp, make a decision and stick to it. It's as simple as that.
And, you know, it's because I don't think it's good enough anymore. And it is, like I said, there's things that I have maybe attributed to her doing consciously that she may not have done consciously. And I don't think that's fair. And because it's upset her to the degree that it has, I don't think it's right to continue. And
No. First, you said you weren't making it private because of me. You said you were making it private so that nobody else could go look at it unless somebody else made reference to it. Now you're saying you took it down because of my feelings. Again, if you think I'm a perp, what do my feelings matter? What do my feelings matter? Like, who gives a toss how I feel if you believe wholeheartedly in your heart that I'm trafficking you? Even if you're in two minds about it, why would you care about how I feel? Like, why does my feelings change anything? My feelings don't matter. Evidence does. Evidence does. Logic does. Rationality does. Like in this case, when it comes to something big like this, my feelings do not matter and neither do yours. Okay?
And the reason I haven't removed it, I don't think there's any way anybody could find it unless they could get into my account privately. And then for those people, maybe I'll put a little disclaimer in the description. For those people that are in the back rooms of Google or whatever that have the backdoor keys. But the reason I don't want to remove it is because there is right now a response video up. And I want to make sure that everything that I said and everything that people say I said, you know, can be checked on. That's really important. That's why I haven't, generally speaking, removed evidence, even if evidence isn't perfectly. Now, I don't know if this was the best strategy for me to employ, but, you know, I'm a very straightforward person compared to most people.
Straightforward compared to most people, you know. This entire video is wishy-washy as hell and she's straightforward. Alright.
I wouldn't want to be removing evidence that, you know, just to make myself look better. That's the way I feel. Now, however, other people have gone on and into my accounts and removed evidence from my, you know, that belongs to me about them to make themselves look better. So it's like I might be, you know.
Yeah, but, okay, I get what she's saying here. She wants to leave it up so that she can show the evolution that her understanding of targeting has come to. I did the same thing. I did delete some videos along the way. because I overthought things. But I see what she's getting at here. She's basically leaving it up because she wants to show how much her understanding of targeted being a TI has come since then, even though she doesn't call herself that. She wants to show how far her understanding has come. I get that. I do the same thing myself. But again, she's non-committal here and she's taking no responsibility for her actions. So that's a moot point.
Myself in the foot by employing a strategy of being extra good when everybody else is being extra bad. But
like,
so, I don't know.
Again, like, do it or don't. Stop trying to put the emotional label on others. Either do it or don't. It's as simple as that.
Might reconsider things like that. But for now, okay, I don't think the video I made is particularly good or particularly bad, but it certainly isn't perfect.
Again, wishy-washy. Doesn't know what she wants to say. Not taking ownership for anything. She's not saying definitively that I'm a perp, but she's not apologizing for calling me a perp or saying she thinks I'm a perp or whatever the fuck she says. Like, she's not taking responsibility for anything. It's just wishy-washy throughout the entire, like, man.
And it was hurtful to her, and so I've made it private, and with the idea that it could be removed later. But as long as it's an issue of contention at all, it shouldn't be removed. Is how I feel, because if it comes up again and if it needs to be,
I'm telling the truth and I'm not lying. Those were your words. So if you're telling the truth and you're not lying, why do my feelings matter? Why? Why? You don't know me from a hole in the wall. So if I'm doing stuff to you and you're sure in your mind that I'm doing stuff and you're sure that you're telling the truth and that you're not lying and this, that, and the third, then leave it up. Leave it up. Or delete it. If you really think that I'm innocent, then delete it, but make a decision. Make a decision, bruh. Come on. Like, when I get things wrong all the time, but, I make a definite decision. Am I going to come online and say I got it wrong? Yes, 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what I do, unless I'm genuinely not sure. Like, just make a decision and stick to it. That's what it means to be a big girl. Like, come on.
Examined more closely, it should be available to do that. And there's no guarantee that any bit of evidence that I keep anywhere is going to stay intact, because there's that much shenanigans going on. A lot of evidence destruction is going on. But I'm not going to go out of my way to remove evidence or remove history of, the evolution of my thoughts. I'm not ashamed that I didn't get everything right, especially with as much, to begin with.
Sorry, this salmon is gorgeous. Seriously. All right. So, you're not ashamed that you didn't get everything right. Erika, the point is you didn't get anything right. Not one single thing. Not one single thing you said in that about that entire video was correct. Not one single thing. There are times where, lots of people don't get everything right. And again, it affects us the most because we're the ones who are the most vulnerable. So when we get stuff wrong, that's when it looks really, really bad on us. Because of that reverse psychology that, that these handlers like to employ on us. Targets. But you got everything wrong. So what you're saying is you're fucked up. You're glad you're fucked up. And you're sorry that there was a consequence to you fucking up. That's what you're saying, ultimately. But then I don't understand why you don't just say that. Like, if you think I'm a perp, cool. But if you don't think I'm a perp, cool. But just say it. Just say it's still in my mind that Fabalocious D is a perp, but I don't have enough evidence to go on, so I'm going to sit tight and wait for what's going on. Like, you're saying that in roundabout ways because you keep oscillating. So just say, I still believe Fabalocious D is a perp. I choose to believe that she is a perp. But until I have further evidence and considering what she's told me, I am going to just continue to wait this out, move on with my life until something else comes along. That's not difficult. That's not difficult to say. It does not take a 35 or 36-minute video to say. It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
With as much disinformation has been going on and misleading and misconstruing, and some people don't think that they're actually doing disinformation, but they are, because they've been trained that it's virtuous to do.
Do you even realize what you're saying? Like, not every single person that do you know what gossip is? Like, how many people who are not perps or TIs, but just ordinary people, they take what somebody else has said and run with it based on emotion alone, or based on one singular piece of evidence that seems to corroborate everything else that's been said. Do you know how often that happens with human beings? That, you're talking about, oh, there is no dichotomy between TI and perps, and yet you're laying a clear dichotomy right now between those who have all their facts straight all the time and those who don't have their facts straight all the time. So basically you're saying they're either perps or you, like, which makes no sense to me. And you didn't even get all your information right. So what does that say about you? But again, I'm not accusing you of being a perp, because I don't have enough to go on to suggest that. Lord. This video is almost over. We're nearly there. We're nearly there, I promise. God damn.
Information. And like I said, the fundamental characteristic of what I'm dealing with is deception. And I know that I was raised, even though I was raised by parents who were deceptive to me, I was raised to highly value honesty. And in fact, I believed, it's hard for me to believe this now, but I believed up until...
That's what narcissistic families do. That's what narcissistic family setups do. They expect you to tell the truth about every single thing ever so that they can control you. And in the meantime, they're lying their ass off, just like they do with this trauma-based program. Lower our inhibitions, lower our self-preservation skills so that we don't lie. We're always transparent. We always do what we're supposed to do. We always toe the line, this, that, and the third. It's called being in a narcissistic family setup. And how many other people have gone through that?
My mid-30s, that my mom never lied. I believed up until my early 40s that my mother almost never lied. And it was only when my mom did a couple really obvious, almost ridiculous lies, said a couple really ridiculous lies to my daughter, that it was like it doesn't even make sense to her to lie about. I started to realize that I had been mistaken in the way I understood my mom's to operate. And my mom is another person. I don't know what motivates her. I don't know what things she's done that are result of direct frequency-based mind control versus she has been told to do something in a certain way, explicitly, or she has chosen to do something in a certain way because she thinks it's beneficial to her. I don't know which is which with her. So if I can't figure that out with my own mother, I don't know why I could figure that out necessarily with anybody else. With my mom.
Sometimes the closer you are to people, the more you can't really perceive them. It happens. Same thing happens when you're too far away from a person. You can't perceive everything clearly. Happens. Like, I feel like, there's a part of me that wants to be sympathetic, because when I am abused and when I'm forced to basically talk about the abuse that I've gone through now, or any abuse that I've gone through now, I suddenly remember all the different ways I was lied to, all the different ways I was gaslit, all the different ways that I was insulted, all the different ways I was called everything but a child of God for no fucking reason at all. And, I understand that one trauma can bring up another. But again, this is a situation that you brought upon yourself by making groundless accusations. And even now, you're not taking any responsibility for it. Instead, you're blaming what your mother did to you for your actions. You haven't taken a decisive line. You haven't, you haven't said anything definite. You're just blaming everyone else for everything. You're not taking any responsibility, and you think you're in the right. This is the scary part. You don't even realize you're doing it. You think you're completely in the right because you're not swearing. You've got a calm voice. You're trying to put across a peaceful image, and you really believe it. That's what makes it scary. That's what makes it scary to me. That's what I'm not. That is what makes it incredibly scary. Like this is an incredibly scary road. This is a rabbit hole and a half. Like, I can't with this.
Is particularly intelligent and clever, but it's the nature of the beast. Because if the knowledge about
Okay, so somebody's intelligent and clever, that automatically makes them a liar. I've heard this before. If somebody's intelligent and clever, that automatically makes them a liar. I've heard this before. Guess where I've heard that from?
frequency-based mind control was more out in the open and people operated. I mean, I don't know why they don't. I feel like it's more open than it. I mean, I know that it's much more known than anyone is admitting, but people are so used to pretending that they don't know about it and behaving accordingly. You know, our whole court system would be transformed by that one thing, because all of a sudden crimes are not done by a person who just wigs out or is a bad guy, right? Crimes are being done by some people who are being manipulated by other people, and this is the way things are really working. And there are people sitting in jail who have done crimes that they don't even realize somebody else really instigated. And how could that be fair? It's not. There's no way that it's fair. It's not about being fair. And that's fundamentally
okay, so she's conflating one thing with another. Like, it's different for somebody to be completely brainwashed. If I was completely brainwashed, you guys would have seen that. When somebody is obviously brainwashed, it's very, very clear and very, very obvious. None of it is clear and obvious from my videos. You see me being drugged. You see me drugged. You see me slurring and stumbling all over the place when I haven't drunken any alcohol. You see me drugged. You see me unstable. You see me angry. You see me traumatized. You see all of those things. But at what point did you ever see me come on video and look any less than 100% lucid, even with me going through as many psychological difficulties as I've been going through? When have you ever seen that? When have you ever seen that? When somebody is being brainwashed, it's very, very obvious. So once again, she's trying to conflate this with the fucking video that I made a year ago, in which I was completely lucid and things like that. Like I said before,
fundamental systems that we use. So it's really important, but it's really real, and it's really, I don't know what else to say about it, but it needs to be, I really feel that it needs to be acknowledged that this is going on, and
it's been acknowledged all over the place. How long have people been talking about disinfo agents? How long have people from Syria and France and fucking China and Japan and the Philippines and Malaysia, how many people from Africa, how many people from fucking Brazil have been talking about being gang stalked? How many people from Australia have been talking about being gang stalked? How do you live in such a far bubble, like in your internal bubble, that you don't realize that everybody's been talking about this long before you or me? Like, how much of a bubble do you have to live in? Of course, there's disinformation everywhere. People have been talking about it. What are you talking about, man?
you know, I think everybody who understands or has any inkling about that this is going on, two California plates, one bomb, 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 should would do us good to be careful to try not to pass judgment on each other too quickly, and when we do, you know, when it's appropriate, to back down.
Again, you're conflating open-mindedness and objectivity with being wishy-washy. They're not the same. They're not the same. Like, and you're being passive-aggressive and superior again. So you know what? We're nearly at the end of the video.
And redirect our attention to, you know, and our understanding to something that's more congruent with reality. So, like I said, I know it's not perfect, Dee, but I hope that it's good enough for you.
It's not. It's not. I'm not looking for perfection. You don't know me very well. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for accountability and a definite answer. My perp or not. Like, why even respond to this if you're not going to give a clear answer?
And I hope that we both have learned something from this, and I hope that we can
both have learned something from this. Oh, sweetheart, you got a lot to learn before you start throwing around phrases like that. I can tell you that now, for nothing.
Move on with a higher degree of knowledge. And I hope that we will be safe.
All right, so I was doing a lot of yelling throughout that video because honestly, I was just like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Sorry about this. Hang on. So I was doing a lot of yelling. Like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This is ridiculous. This is some ridiculous stuff that I've been hearing, man. Like, my thing is this. If you're going to accuse somebody of something, then accuse them of it. Don't then say, you know, then try and be wishy-washy and try to protect your reputation and then act like you're doing it for me. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't owe me anything. You don't know me like that. So if you think that I'm a perp, just say that. If you think I'm innocent, just say that. Because otherwise it just makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about and that you're wishy-washy. And if you're not ashamed, then why make it private? Why make it private? You know what I mean? Why make it private? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing about that video makes sense. Either you say one or two things. Fabalocious D, I think you're a perp. And the only reason why I made that video private or I'm keeping that video up is because I want further information to come out. Or, Fabalocious D, I know you're not a perp. I'm very, very sorry that I accused you of being a perp. I will take that video down and we will not talk about this anymore. But I wanted a definitive answer. I'm not looking for perfection. And the fact that you tried to conflate the two is, once again, that's more game playing. I'm not about that. I'm not about that. You're not perfect, but somehow you're more honest and straightforward than anyone else, when it's nothing but 35 minutes of being wishy-washy and going around in circles. And there's one more thing that I want to bring up before I end the video. I don't know if I brought this up because, again, my short-term memory is ridiculously shitty. But I think at one point during the video, I might have skipped over it, that she was talking about how targeting is intergenerational and how she believes that there's this information covering this up. First of all, there are plenty of stories about people like Jane Clift. There was also a guy who was arrested for using directed energy weaponry. The thing is, right, is that yes, it can be intergenerational, and in my case it is, because at least one of my relatives was a target before I even realized what was going on. At least one, if not two. Okay, so yes, this can be intergenerational. It can also be ethnic. It can also be racial. It can also be connected to various human rights groups. They can also be investigated by the police. There are also whistleblowers that can be attacked. There are people who can be chosen just because somebody within civil service didn't like the person. So there are a number of ways in which this trauma-based mind control can be inflicted on somebody. All they have to do is join a list that says this person needs to be watched. All right, that's one of the ways anyway. There are a multitude of different ways that people can be, subjected to trauma-based mind control. There are multiple different ways. It's not just one way. So the fact that you would even bring that up and try to act like that, oh, that's this disinformation because it can only happen one way. Like, for you to even say that, it just demonstrates to me that you're underestimating just how vicious and just how vindictive and just how petty this program really is. You're really underestimating it. So it's just that whole video was like, I'm leaving this up. This is my response. One thing I'm not gonna do, seeing as she made a response to my response and she's gonna drop it, to be honest, even if she's not gonna drop it, I'm gonna drop it, and then I'm gonna let people make up their own minds about the situation, because I intended to make this public, and I intended to explain myself, and I intended to tell the story from my side. I've done that twice. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Okay? No. It's a good thing that I went out for a walk and I had some training today, because otherwise this would have been just a lot to take. This would have been a lot to take. It's just... Anyway, thank you all for sticking with me. I'm glad you guys are here. If I've missed any comments, I apologize sincerely, but it's not intentional. And you guys take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Stay well. Don't let the bastards get you down. All that good stuff. So you guys take care. Bye.